Hello. Back on the landy today, and it's time to remove its face, I think. I need to get the front end cleared off. Get this plastic off out the way. And try not to lose any screws. Hang on, there's more. First bit off. When we bought the Land Rover, it came with two bonnets. It came with this one and a white one with the spare tyre support mounts. And that was what was on it, the white one with the support mount. We don't want the spare tyre on the front bonnet. I'm not very tall, so having another lump on top of the bonnet where visibility is fairly limited anyway, isn't going to work for us. So we went with, and it's the wrong colour, it's white and this one's green, and it looks loads better with the green bonnet, with the rest of it being green. Apart from the roof should be white. But anyway, so I've already switched the bonnets out once in that decision making process. So I know how this bit comes off. It's the rest of it that I'm a bit hazy on. Circa C-clip, one of those. C-clip, I suppose. It's a C shape. There you go. Can you see that? One of those. Fibre washer, and then the actual pin. Down there for a minute. That down as well. Right, onwards and upwards. What should happen is there are some little plastic sort of barrel pieces in the hinges that should rotate and allow you to lift the bonnet straight off. Tappy out and just try to persuade them round. One of those jobs that should be easy. I've already done it once. Prop that back. Bonnet removed. This front bit of the tin off. Next I'm going to try and get the headlight mounts out. Give me a bit of clearer access, hopefully. The actual light fittings that hold these. That's not the original screw. I don't even doing anything. It's not done properly. And that's a flathead. I think most of these screws aren't actually really doing a lot. So look at that. I really want all my lights falling out halfway down the road. Last time I checked, it did all work. Okay, this one appears to be held together with electrical tape. Looks like someone has wedged the wires in. Takes that one off. Okay, cut this side still, it's clipped. Anywhere else, I suppose. I'm trying to remove this. I've got one bolt out at the top here. Not that that's actually loosened everything. Actually, I'm going to have to do. There is another bolt up in there, so I think I'll probably have to get that done as well. Loosen that off. Then there'll be another two in there. I've got the one down there done, and the one down here that's just spinning. So I'm not sure what I'll do with that yet. But to get the ones in there, the horn's going to need to come out of the way. So that's the next thing. All a bit corroded, so socket don't like going on. Oh, that's never a good sound. Right, so the nut is sheared off from whatever it is that keeps it captive. So now I've not only got to try and turn it from the outside, I've got to try and retain it on the inside. Well, this is fun. Nice long video of me fighting with rusty old bolts that do not want to come undone. Let's try removing the headlight and see if I can get in better through there. I don't know if that gives me any better access or not, to be honest, but it gives me access. I'm doing the other one, so if I can get that. What I may be able to do, if I'm going to do the other bolt is loose. I might be able to get a hacksaw down between the panels, prise them open, and cut that bolt, and that will resolve the issue. Gotcha. Wonderful. There goes the bolt. Right, that's one side free. Now for the other. I've got one of the top bolts out, I'll get the other one. Right, so it's just this stuck one down here now. I've got to try and deal with. Is anything else attached to it? No, right, so that's the only thing that's attached to now is that wing, so hopefully it can come off with that wing. So I think I'll go on to that next. Clear it up a bit and I'll bring you back. So to get the wing off, I've got to take off all the auxiliary pieces attached to it. So we got expansion chamber coolant system, and I've got the fuel filter on there as well. And the air intake comes around to the grill on the side. And then we'll see what else I find as I go to, oh, and the bracket for the bonnet, and that'll be the first bit to come off, I think. There we go. I didn't have it around too much. There we go. Go sit in there for now. You do want to undo. Trust me. Alright, maybe you didn't want to undo. This one might go the same way. Yeah. Well, in some ways it makes life easier. Taking a bit of faffing about to get this set up, but it doesn't look the greatest of setups, but it should work. My plan is I'm going to put the Land Rover on these trestles. I've got 2 of them, one for the front, one for the back, nice and solid. And I'm going to lift it up and sit the chassis onto these. The wheels, the axles should hang just above the floor. What it should mean is, as I take it apart, I can just drop the axles out from underneath it, remove everything off the top, and should be left with just the bare chassis sat on the trestles. Then I can take that one out, put the new one in its place, and lift everything back up from underneath, drop everything back on top, lift it back off the trestles, done. It means no faffing about with axle stands and things like that as I go through, and I feel like it's going to be more stable on these than it would be on axle stands. So hopefully I've got this set up now that I can lift it up and slide the trestles under. What I'm trying to do is get the trestle so when the chassis sits on it, it's between that and that bracket. That's why I had to lift it funny, because the spread of the legs of the engine crane are a bit wider than the trestles. There we go. We're up on the trestles now. I can get the wheel off and out of the way. I've already loosened all the nuts before I lifted it, because it makes it easier when the wheel can't spin. So I want to get this plastic jobbery out of the way. It's missing most of its attachments, to be honest. So I got that out. It turns out these little plastic fittings, if you tap centres out of them, they hello Nutty, they release, which I'm a bit annoyed I didn't find out sooner. So yeah, that's them out and that plastic wheel arch off. The next thing to do is some fairly inaccessible bolts. There's a row of them up in there, up the bulkhead, and I'm going to remove the outer wheel arch separate to the inner wing or wheel arch, just to try and make my life easier, hopefully. So to be able to get at the ones, I can get it, I'll take one out, I can get at the bottom one. To get at the, I think there's 2 more up here. I'm going to take the air intake off, which is pot riveted on, so I'm just going to quickly drill out those pot rivets and pull that off. It's not actually connected inside anyway, so I'll have to look at that when I come to put it back together and make sure it's all connected properly. And it was, once again, full of dirt. Hold the camera. Now leave. I'm just being annoying. Nutty, shoot, come on. Daddy, chickens. Great, quit chasing around. Not got any. I'm going to pot rivet this back on again. Come on. You. There we go. That on top, inside the air intake. They should be able to get at those bolts through there. Pull some of the crud out. Super long extension. They're a nice coarse thread, which doesn't mean I'm doing nice and easy. So I've got them out now and working my way around. It's getting loose, more and more loose. Just kind of chasing bolts now. There's a little angle bracket and a bolt that connects it to the sill here. So I'm gonna whip that out. I think that's this end all disconnected. That one shears as well. Lots of sheared bolts today. This end all disconnected and off. So what remains is there's, I think, some attachments at the front here to the inner wheel arch, and one bolt still on the front end. So I'll get these 2 fixings up here out. They're just big Phillips heads, so I'll whip them out with the impact and then see what I can do about that stuck bolt. Right, so that last bolt down the front put up quite a fight. I actually ended up chiseling off the nut. I couldn't get a grinder in there to cut it or anything like that, and it wouldn't undo, so got chiseled that nut off and it popped out. So now this panel and that should already got them loose. It's all loose enough. I've got a little side light jobby here, which I forgot about. It's also held together with duct tape or electrical tape. That's good. The other thing I forgot is the bonnet cable. That should just be a case of loosening off this and pulling it out the way. Hopefully, should be loose. There we go. Pull that through. Slide it through there. Right, now I should be able to lift it all out. There. That's what we wanted. You can then get on and sort that out. Cut that bolt and disconnect the two. That's the outer wing out off. So with that all off, it's just the inner wheel arch to come out now. It's only got 2 bolts and 2 screws left holding it in. I think I'm going to use my electric adjustable to cut off the bolts, as they're pretty well rotted, and hopefully the screws will come undone with the impact driver. One. Yeah, heads are so rusted out that it's just sheared off all the Phillips head. So. There we go. So what's left now? So it's just part of the wiring loop goes to the headlights. That little contraption, which I'm not entirely sure what it is, but that's got a plug on it. So it's easy enough to get that up there out of the way. That can go away with the cab in later. It should come off. Get the bonnet back off. So I've missed one bolt that holds that little support. So the one I've missed is in here, holds the bottle, the expansion chamber off the coolant system up. So I just need to undo that, and then it should come out. Right, that's that. Put its bolt back through there, so I don't lose it. That's that. If we got here a couple of pipes clipped in, and out. Right. Now we should be able to lift it out. Great. That one don't get to sit on top of that for now. And that's that out. It's a bit of a rinse and repeat on this side. Got screen wash bottle on here, obviously the heating set up in there, so that might make getting to the bolts down that side a little difficult, but I'll find out as I go along. So start taking it apart. That off. Moss. Struggling to undo the 2 bolts that take the actual whole tank off of its bracket, so I decided to try again on the bolts that bolt it on to the wing, and one of them's just sheared off. I don't know what the other one's going to do. It might shear, feels like it might shear. Might even do, maybe. Sheared. But that solves my problem anyway. Creates another one, but it solves one of them. Still bolted on down the bottom. Well, no, that's capped in as well. Oh, that one's gonna come up. What a faff. All this to take bloody water tank. I always said taking it apart is going to be the easy bit, but I'm starting to second guess that. Should. Now, remove. There we go. Pull hose off. Tanks off. Brackets off. This is going to fit through that hole. So that's the air intake for the heating. I did loosen them, that's good. Get that out of the way. There's more on this side. Should now just pull away. It's always warm. Stubborn. So to disconnect the outer and the inner wheel arches, there's a row of screws up in here. I can access them. Should be able to access them in from the top where I've taken the air intake for the heating off. And then there's one bolt at the front corner, and there's a row of bolts that connect the wing to the bulkhead up in there. I think there's 4 or 5 going up in there, I can't remember. And a little bolt somewhere in here that connects it to this little bottom sill. Hopefully I can get all of those up in here. The heating setup is in the way, but I'm hoping I'll get away with not have to take it out just yet. But we shall see. We're missing bolts. Well, that makes life somewhat easier. It's not the greatest because the camera doesn't like being so close. You can see a little bracket coming out there and the bolt on the end. And then up in here, you can see one bolt head there. There should be one somewhere down in that sand. Then further up, they're missing. Whoever put this back together last didn't put them in. So I'll actually be a bit grateful for that. It saves me trying to get a spanner up there. I'm pretty sure they're all both missing. And then the only other bolt, if I can stand up, that holds it is one that goes in that bracket there that I've actually already taken out. Yeah, you can see by the movement in that. It's already pretty well disconnected. So I'll get you set back up and get all that taken out. Yes. They're quite stubby little things, really coarse threaded. I think it is a 1/2 inch head. Just I couldn't get it on because it's a bit knackered. Right, there should be one more down the bottom there somewhere underneath the sand. There you are. And that's all that's left in there. Someone didn't put those back, so that's those. It's just that little bolt there. Something. Oh no, there we go. Shit. Completely corroded off where it's been sat in that sand, probably full of salt, road salt as well. Right, so that's all the bottom disconnected. It should just be a case of that row of bolts along the top and that one at the front. And the outer wing should be free. Hopefully you can see a bit there. See what I can see, which is the fact that whoever did this back up last didn't do the bolts up. So there should be only one bolt left holding this together. So the last thing holding this on should be this bolt. Seeing as somebody couldn't be bothered to do all the rest up. And as per, the bolt is 3 miles too long. finished yet. There we go. Right. That duct tape on. The rest will be duct taped on. No, but it is pretty badly perished. There we go. One more wing. So, same job as the other side, 2 screws at the bottom and a few bolts. Not many by the look of it. And the electrics again. Tuck that behind its ears. There's no bolt on the front, so it's 1 on the back and 2 screws. I think there's nothing else mounted to it. Oh, yeah, there is. The part of the air intake system is bolted on up here. The pipe that goes from the turbo through the cooler. Oh, there she goes. Ta-da! So with that, it's the front removed, basically. So all the bodywork anyway. Doesn't look overly happy with his face taken off, but I think it'll benefit from it in the long run. So the next job is to take the cab off. That was why I've taken all this off, really, give me the access I need. So that should be coming up in the next video at some point in the future. This lot will now get packed away into the back of the shed, and there's a few bits of rust